Hey GT family, Aaron here. Happy Independence Day. And I just want to speak to you for just a few moments in this video from the heart and share with you 4 things that you can do to preserve independence in your life. Well, welcome folks to another video here. It's July 4th, Independence Day, and we're celebrating the birth of the United States of America. And I am so thankful and blessed to be able to be called a citizen of this great country. I've seen the world. I've been all over this planet, and I am so thankful and blessed to be a part of this country. And I want to say also to all of our international viewers as well, be thankful for the country that you live in. And I believe that this video can even apply to you when it comes to instilling independent principles and living an independent life and not dependent upon government or other people first and foremost, but relying on yourself and the God-given rights that you have been given, all mankind has been given, that we can live out in our daily lives. So I want to kind of just set the tone for the rest of this video by reading a few lines, opening lines from the Declaration of Independence. This is in Congress, July 4th, 1776, and it says, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. A decent and respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they have been endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that the rights that God has given us, these God-given natural rights, the job of government is not to hand out these rights, but to protect these rights." And that's really what the founding of this nation is about. And this nation is an amazing place to be, amazing place to be called a citizen of, but it's not a perfect nation. We every year come closer to that more perfect union that they talked about, that the founding fathers spoke of. And I want to just take a moment and talk about those natural rights that were given and handed down by God. And think of it this way to make it a little easier. Think of a wild animal. Think of like a mountain lion. We're here in the Rocky Mountains where I live. And think of a mountain lion. That mountain lion in nature has been given the right to life, to liberty, to the best pursuit of its happiness, to try and survive and try and be happy and content in its environment wherever it is living. And the right to defend itself, to protect itself if encroached upon by another animal, predator, mankind, whatever it may be. It has the right to defend itself and try to protect its life. And in that concept, those natural rights are what you and I have. And I just want to share with you these 4 things that you can do to help instill, cultivate, water, and nurture those ideas in your own heart, in your own mind, but also in your family and in your social circles and environment. And so the first thing, number 1, is to educate yourself. You need to be educated, regardless if you live here in America or anywhere else in the world, on your system of government, the rights and rules and things that are offered to you through either your Constitution, maybe it's a declaration that you have in your country, or here in America, our Declaration of Independence, our Bill of Rights, and other Federalist letters and documents that really founded the idea of how this country is supposed to operate, or your country, regardless of where you may live, is supposed to function and operate. Educate yourself. The number 1 downfall of each one of us is not being educated on what rights we have. If we never know the rights or how they can be used and applied, we can have them stripped away or taken away because we never knew they were there in the first place or encroached upon. And so just one example that I've done for myself recently, about a year ago, I got the U.S. Constitution as well as other American writings. And this has the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, has the Declaration of Independence, as well as just lots of other letters and notes and documentation about the founding and the judicial system and how it's supposed to work. And I'm in the process of reading this. I'm about halfway through it as of last I checked. And I really try to digest, remind myself of the rights that I have, that other individuals in this country have. And I'm educating myself in that way, as well as just educating myself on other things that are going on, not looking at one source to try and get my information out of, but regardless if that's a news outlet, Facebook, Instagram, social media, whatever it may be, I'm looking for multiple streams of modern news to get my information, and not just honing in on one that I like and then trying to digest it for myself. So get educated, educate yourself on the rights that you have in your country and that God has naturally given each person. Next up, number 2 is prepare yourself. With this virus that's been going around that shut down the world, if any time has shown mankind the importance of being prepared and looking out for yourself, this time has shown that you can't always rely on others. You can't always rely on the systems or institutions that we have set up through government or through local support systems. We need to be prepared. You need to prepare yourself. That will instill a sense of independence. You will not be dependent on others. You will be independent. I cannot tell you how much peace I had at the onslaught and beginning of this virus that has happened here in 2020. When I was going into the supermarkets and grocery stores and many people were panic buying, they didn't have enough. And because I have prepared for these things, both with medical supplies, food supplies, defense supplies, things like that, I was pretty calm, cool, collected compared to many others because I had already prepared myself. And so I'm not being dependent on others. I'm independent and able to have more freedom in not only my purchasing decisions, spending money wise, things like that. And so that's a simple way that you can help yourself stay independent and enforce those things in your own life and sustain those things in your own life, is just being prepared on a very simple level with the medications that you need, having a good backup food supply on hand, having water and water purification, and those type of things can really make a difference. Number 3 is defend yourself. You have to be ready to not only defend yourself against enemies, both foreign and domestic, is what our founding fathers spoke about when they were crafting the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And so for each one of us, now more than ever before, as we see things going on in such unrest and chaos and uncertainty, and you may not be able to rely on government officials and government protection to defend your property and your life and your family's lives. So I encourage you, take the steps, get the training, and be prepared to defend that liberty and that freedom and that independence that has been given to each person. And the 4th thing is specifically geared to the men, because about 95% of the viewers that we have here at the channel are dudes. And so I want to speak to you as a guy and as a father particularly, that you fathers, regardless if one day you may become a father, maybe you're already a dad, your voice in your children's lives is more important than ever before. And your voice has more weight than any other voice in your children's lives. More so than any religious leader, coach, teacher, friends. What you say and what you do will have a deeper, greater, longer lasting impact than anyone else than your kids will encounter. So fathers, I encourage you, be present. Teach and instill the values that you see in this world that you hold dear. Teach them about the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and how we protect that, but also how do we live that out and encourage that for our fellow man. Be tender and loving to them, because I got to tell you, if we give up that right as parents to love, educate, teach, and grow our children, and we hand that off to other people, and I understand particularly maybe single parent, things like that, you have to have help, and I absolutely understand that because you're trying to make ends meet and things like that. I totally get it. But even in those situations, you, the parent, have such a voice and such a value and importance to your children, because if we completely hand that off to educators or coaches or ministers and things like that, religious leaders, then what we're really doing is giving up what we could instill in the next generation, and ultimately may not be in our lifetime. There will be an erosion of those freedoms and that level of independence that we in this life get to enjoy. So I just encourage you to instill that in your children and ask yourself, how can I be even more involved and more of a teacher and an encourager to my kids? So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. Know that my family and I love you. We care for you. We value you. You are an amazing, amazing part of this channel. We feel like you're part of the family here, and we just care so much for you. We love you. Have an amazing Independence Day, and always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.